How's it going, everyone? I am the Shaz here going over the next set of events on the Love Live All-Stars global server. This time with card analysis for events happening in the beginning and middle of July. I don't want to waste any time, so let's get started. We left off last video talking about the party banner featuring Shioriko and Yo. So we'll start off this time going over the Thinking of the Dress marathon event, featuring free event UR Mari, free event SRs Just Believe Setsuna and No Brand Grows Rin, event Gacha SR Happy Party Train Daya, and event Gacha URs I and Nico. The SRs tied to the event are actually pretty decent. Just Believe Setsuna is an active attribute SK type stamina healer who heals off of her best stat, her technique. No Brand Grows Rin is a decently statted natural attribute voltage type, and Happy Party Train Daya is an elegant attribute SK type with decent appeal and technique for an SR. Oh, and a couple of things before I forget. First, during the time that this event is going to come out, if you really want to min-max, make sure you choose one of these 6 girls as the school idol channel you support for the week. This ensures that not only are you keeping up event points wise, but also that you are maxing out your daily live support points as well. Second, there was an overhaul to the tiering rewards for this marathon event, and it's actually a very big deal, especially for free-to-play or budget players. The changes? Most of the Star Gem rewards have been replaced by School Idol Wishes. There is only one 50 Star Gem reward relatively soon after you get the first copy of the free event UR Mari, but in return, you get 30 School Idol Wishes, enough for a limit break on the UR of your choosing. 2 high memory exchange tickets are also in the reward pool as well, for those of you desperately needing some. This nets out to 100 or so less Star Gems per monthly cycle, but in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't take a free-to-play player off of their ability to spark banners. First, let's go over the free event UR, Thinking of the Dress Mari, her 8th UR overall that slides into the game as a pure attribute voltage type. Assuming as always you tier high enough to get her second copy, Mari starts off with 6484 base appeal, 4181 base stamina, and 6502 base technique. Her tap active provides a voltage gain of 5.6% to all cards for the next 5 notes at skill level 3. Her passive gives her pretty decent flexibility, as it provides a 4.9% appeal boost to all pure cards at skill level 4. Her LSA is very situational, as it is guaranteed to increase base appeal of all 3rd years by 2% at the start of the live. I'm not gonna cut any corners here. For almost every player, this card is really nice to have, as the pure attribute is one of the worst as far as number of voltage types in the UR slot. Only cool and elegant have less. Even if you're not really able to fully take advantage of her LSA, this card is decent enough stat-wise to help any single player. Meta ranking, 4 out of 10. Non-meta ranking, 9 out of 10, strictly for being a free card. The first event Gacha UR we'll go over is Thinking of the Dress I. Comes into the game as an active attribute SP type. At limit break 0, I starts at 6457 base appeal, 3946 base stamina, and 7531 base technique, good for a roughly 37% crit rate. Her tap active is the SP gauge fill, filling 8% of the SP gauge at skill level 3. Her passive does give her flexibility, just like Mari, and she gives an appeal boost to all other active cards by 4.6% at skill level 3. Ai's LSA is similar to that of Second Fest Yohane, as she fills the SP gauge equal to 1% of her technique at the start of NAC. Now, while normally the SP gauge fillers are considered uber meta cards, this one isn't quite there yet. The reason for this is that in most instances, running a lineup of, say, this Ai, Second Fest Rico, and First Fest Kanan ends up scoring worse than one that swaps out this Ai for Fest Setsuna. Once another active attribute SP type gauge filler comes out, it will be up for debate. Until then, however, this card won't really see a lot of mainline scoring duties. Meta rating, currently a 4 out of 10, with upside to be an 8 out of 10, non-meta rating, 7 out of 10. The second event Gacha UR is Thinking of the Dress Nico, who enters as a cool attribute SK type. At Limit Break 0, Nico starts with a paltry 3100 base appeal, 5107 base stamina, and this is not a typo, 10,032 base technique for a regular gacha card. This starts her with a roughly 45% crit rate. Her tap active is pretty poor, giving a skill activation rate up for cards in her strategy by 4.6% for the next 5 notes at skill level 3. Her passive, like every other UR tied to the event, is a same attribute appeal buffing passive, with Nico giving a 4.6% appeal buff to all other cool cards at skill level 3. Her LSA is questionable, as it has a chance to increase the base appeal of all other cool cards by 7% at the start of the live, though only activating at a 30% rate. This Nico card is really quite difficult to evaluate. On one hand, she has the single highest base technique value in the game, topping out at a whopping 17,952 at max limit break, which takes her around a very nice 69% crit rate. Some of you may be a little confused as far as why I'm so low on her LSA, so let me explain from a Voltage competitor's perspective. Cards with appeal buffing LSAs shine brightest when a player's main scoring strategy consists of cards that have a Voltage boost tap active ability, like the second Fest Maru, first Fest Kanan, and first Fest Setsuna. The reason why this card isn't really valued as much right now is because the cool attribute only has one card that has decent flexibility that can take advantage of it, Veggie Ohane. First Fest Ayumu and Move Farm Days Umi are the two other cards in the attribute with Voltage Boost tap actives. But because of their same school appeal buffing passives, it becomes very hard to optimize a team. Final card ranking for both meta and non-meta players, 5 out of 10. The Story Chapter 28 update is here, and with it we get the attribute version of Yume ga Koko kara Hajimaru yo from Niji, and Binetsu Kara Mystery from Lily White. First, Yume ga Koko kara Hajimaru yo, which arrives as a Smile attribute song. Sporting a 10.265 million voltage requirement to S rank on Advanced, this song possesses quite a few challenges, with the main one being a low note total at 161 notes. This is offset a little by the total AC reward voltage, which is 2.5 million, bringing the raw voltage needed to S rank the song down to 7.7 million. The overall song gimmick decreases the SP gauge fill rate of all cards by 50%, but it is cleansable, though you don't really need to bring a cleanser along for this one if you're careful. There's only one note gimmick in the song, which gives a gauge fill of 50%, but only if it is hit by a card with SK typing. There are 6 total ACs in the song, with the first needing 270k voltage and ACs 2, 4, and 6 needing SP gauge pops. All 4 of these ACs provide a 20% appeal buff to all voltage type cards. The 3rd and 5th AC are everyone's favorite, tap skill activations, requiring 9 and 7 respectively, and giving a 20% skill activation rate up to guard type cards. To make things significantly easier for you, I would suggest to just run a side strategy full of 3 guard type cards and put some keychain accessories for them, and you should be fine. The second song with the Chapter 28 update is Binetsu Kara Mystery from Lily White, which makes its entrance into the game as a cool attribute song. Hopefully you have some strong cool cards, because everything in the song revolves around the attribute. The song needs 9.166 million voltage to S rank on Advanced, so some of you may be stuck if you don't have high limit breaks on either high appeal or cool attribute cards. The song gimmick is a non-cleansable 20% off attribute debuff, and the note gimmicks either give a 20% skill activation or SP gauge gain rate up for the next 10 notes, but only for cool cards. There are 5 ACs in the song, with the first giving cool cards a 100% crit rate and needing 276k voltage to clear. ACs 2 and 4 require SP gauge pops of 85 and 165k, but give cool cards a 50% skill activation rate up, and ACs 3 and 5 require voltage, but give all cool cards a 20% increase to their appeal. Along with our Story Chapter 28 update, we get the next Fest banner, featuring UR's Kotori and Rina, and SR's Happy Party Train Kanan and Just Believe Shizuku. Both of the SRs are somewhat usable for casual play, as Happy Party Train Kanan is a Smile attribute guard type stamina shielder, and Just Believe Shizuku is a natural attribute SP type with a pretty good technique stat and an SP gauge gain tap active. First, as always, we start with the face of the fest banner. Welcome to Kotori's Costume Parlor Kotori, a Smile attribute SK type. At Limit Break 0, the Burb starts with 7113 base appeal, 3100 base stamina, and 8025 base technique, good for a roughly 39% crit rate. Her tap active is admittedly pretty weak, as she increases the voltage gain for crit taps by 18% for the next 5 notes for cards in her strategy at skill level 3. Her passive is the good one for frontline scoring, giving a 6% appeal boost to cards in her strategy at skill level 3. Her LSA is also one of the better ones, giving a guaranteed appeal increase of 2.5% at the start of Alive for cards in her strategy. Now, even though I'm not a Koto Oshi, I must admit, this card is pretty disappointing. If you were to just look at this card's passive and LSA, you'd think it would be a powerhouse card, but her tap active and typing as an SK means that this card falls just a bit flat. Her best case scenario is for use in an Advanced Plus Smile attribute song while being paired with something like Fest Honoka. A good card to put as a guest card, but nothing more. For meta players, 3 out of 10. For non-meta players, 7 out of 10. The second UR on the Fest banner is Checkmate Rina, her 7th UR overall, who comes into the game as a pure attribute SP type. At Limit Break 0, our little king? Queen? Her idolized art has her with a king's crown and she has a cane, guys. Give me a break. Anyways, Rina starts with 7296 base appeal, 2371 base stamina, and 8572 base technique, good for a roughly 40% crit rate. Her tap active is the SP gauge fill, filling up 8% of the SP gauge at skill level 3. Her passive gives a 3.6% appeal buff to all cards at skill level 3. Her LSA is also pretty decent, as every time you use your SP gauge, increase appeal of all cards by 12% for the next 5 notes. So, yeah. Another SP gauge filler, and yes, this one is meta too. Rina has the highest base appeal and technique of the meta SP gauge fillers, topping out at over 13k base appeal and over 15k base technique at max limit break, giving her a 61% crit rate as well. This card will replace Noble Princess Canning as the third piece in the pure attribute SP cycle strategy in most instances, unless there's an SBL that comes around with a Niji stat buff and a pure song as part of the song list, at which time you would probably run Rina alongside Noble Princess Canning and First Fest Kasumi. Meta competitors all over the world are probably cursing the hell out of K-Lab, as that now makes 4 out of the last 5 Fest banners that has a meta card in it, in addition to the last 3 party banners. For meta players, 10 out of 10. For non-meta players, 9 out of 10. And this concludes the video for the cards and events scheduled for these first couple weeks of July. As always, a big thank you to Xifrid for help with the visual assets for this video. Also, if you need any more elaboration on any of the cards mentioned in the video, feel free to leave a comment down below. I try to look at every single comment, so don't be shy. Ask away. I am the Shaz. Take it easy, be nice to each other, and I will see you all next time.